Welcome to Kiwi Radio, your weekly showcase of the underground, coming from independently run country. I think we're still democracy. I don't know. I can't remember. Is it election year? I cannot remember. It's 2025. Ralphie here, starting off the show with a bit of silliness. How you doing? We do have a guest tonight. Paraeana is joining us. And I'll start off the show with some Kiwi music. One of our featured artists called Ecomatica, dropping a debut release. You can check them out at ecomaticamusic.com. We'll listen to them right now. The track is called Love Isn't Always. Back soon with our guest Paraeana, live on Kiwi Radio. Kiwi Radio featured artist there, Echo Matica with a debut single. We love Kiwi music. Speaking of local talent, Paraeana is joining us again tonight. He is a Auckland-based longtime musician, serving up jazz-influenced acoustic pop rock tracks, very breezy, chill vibes, which is exactly what I need right now for a cold winter's night. And but we're going to warm it up with some cool sounds. Brian, welcome back to the show.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. I'm here.
How's your side of the country going?
Yeah, it's nice. It's been cold up here a little for the last couple of days, eh?
It has for sure. I'm feeling the breeze, but we're going to warm it up with some cool tunes. I'm very excited to have you back. It's been some time. Tell me what you've been up to in terms of music.
I love, obviously we're going to talk about these 3 that I've sort of released this year, and I've got another 2 that's coming online and as well, and probably another couple. So I'll try and do an EP or an album as soon as I can, really, just to get them out of the system, you know. That's the plan. Whether it happens, Stan, I don't know.
What's driving your creativity at the moment?
Well, I think with all that's happening, you know, around, you can sort of be negative about it. And the new things with AI coming up, lots to talk about there. And
what's your
I've
take on AI,
especially
with like tying into music? What's your take on it?
Well, you know, songwriters are encouraged to use, like someone said last night at the folk club, what's the difference between someone grabbing a book of folk songs to get some ideas or inspiration, or, you know, or grabbing some song writing books or song rhyming books as well, as opposed to just using the computer as the book. So I thought about that and I said, yeah, well, it's just the same, isn't it? But what people are doing can be quite different.
What people are doing can be different. Okay. So it's how they're using the tool, you mean?
People want the whole AI to do it for them. Like, you know, read out a prompt, give me a song that's going to be upbeat, real poppy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then it just comes, it's not really you. You're not putting, it's no one's life into it. It's just a gathering of all the best things that might be around coming through AI at the moment, or, you know, it's gathered data. And rather than inspiring you to create better, it's kind of like, oh, it's just an easy way, you know. We won't have to have Spotify soon. We'll just have our own songs to listen to.
It is interesting because we're in that timeline of technology advancement, you know, where if used too much, it can outsource creativity entirely, but still sound robotic. Because, I mean, I've been dabbling in it as well, and I do agree. If you randomize the prompt, for example, you will just get gibberish. But how I see it is, because I've taken songwriting courses and everything, a good song is still a good song and can be like put into any genre, but the song for me is like the melody, maybe the words, you know, it still needs like a proper human prompt to make it a thing. That's what I find. But the flip side of that, I think, is interesting, that it does lower the barrier for someone who wants an outlet to be creative. It can lower it, but at the same time, it's how you use the tool, isn't it? I wrote a song recently where I got stuck on verse 2 and used ChatGPT to prompt me a verse 2. Now, it didn't spit me line by line what I wanted, but it did re-trigger or reset my brain to as if I was co-writing with someone in the room. So it does lower the barrier of creativity, but in my opinion, I think if there's if anyone's curious about being creative or making a song, there's no really bad ways about it, because I encourage anyone to have some sort of creative outlet, whether it's, you know, knitting purses or, in this case, writing a song. But it does blur the lines a little bit, like about what it can take over next, if it can do that. Because you hear of stories of like, graphic designers being replaced or anything like that, not just music. But it is definitely a very interesting time in history. But I wonder if it's going to be one of those things where legislation catches up and it kind of dials back a bit. Like remember the heydays of, what was it, when piracy was at its peak, Napster, and then it got dialed back. I wonder if it's going to be the same. So I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out here. But so do you find it interesting or do you find it scary or exciting?
I find it kind of. I mean, I've listened to a podcast called The Diary of a CEO,
I like that one. Yep.
They're quite interesting because he has a lot of different people on and scientists, even the creators that created AI and even worked in the things, in that nature. And I just find it good to debate how are you going to control it? Are we going to cope with it? Is it going to raise us too fast? And obviously, but a lot of people are behind now, in a lot of things. But then there'll be the ones for and the ones against, and I don't know where I sit at all.
I don't know either. I'm not an advocate because I know like people like Timbaland who made like an AI artist, and I think that's taking it too far because you're creating demigods, right? You're essentially trying to replace the creator. So I don't think I want to go that extreme, but I also at the same time, because I've always grown up in a career where I'm in technology, right? And they always say, stay curious at what's coming up, like those disruptors, stay curious, not necessarily like, like praise them or anything, but like just remain curious. And that's where I am. I think I'm curious about it. But what I don't like about AI at the moment is the fact that it's replacing a lot of people's livelihoods. Like, if you go down a drive-through, for example, and you're talking to a robot, or that could be an entry-level job for someone, or even like the grocery stores where you're self-scanning. That's where I think it's a little bit, because I think companies, require. I mean, it's in their bloodline to be profitable, but I think that if we don't reel it back in terms of legislation and stuff, it can be kind of a bit too much, So a bit dangerous in that aspect.
Or maybe our lifestyle gets to change, so you won't need those people in those, and they'll get their money from an AI source.
I don't know. Well, it is an interesting time, and maybe humanity finds the downtime to maybe start exploring the rest of the galaxy or something. That would be a nice kind of outcome out of it. Maybe everyone loses their jobs, but then they decide, okay, well, it's time to populate Mars or something like that. Who knows? But it is an interesting timeline, but I think it does need to be reeled back, some sort of legislation or, just because the thing I don't like about it is taking people's livelihoods, because that's no fun, because everyone has to eat, essentially. But in terms of music, it's interesting because, like, say if you want to take the costs down of a production and you're missing a rhythm section, well, you can use AI to kind of have a rhythm section. You still need someone to drive the wheels a little bit, but I know that with AI music, you can separate stems now, and it's getting pretty crazy, to be honest. So I wonder where it will be in the next 5 years, and if people can tell the difference or if they'll even care, So
I think that's probably you play live, where artists will always be there, and they'll know that they're there because they're in front of you. Someone that just comes out and plays a piano only or acoustic live stuff.
That's the magic that you can't replace.
That actually break through everything, and he goes, hey, they don't use, a lot of stuff that things go on today. That's kind of where I am at the moment too, is I'm thinking, trying to do a lot more just acoustically, just tweak it back a bit. Some productions, I like having heavy productions, but then at the end of the day, I kind of think a good song is something that you can do acoustically as well. It should, because that's how you normally create the song anyway. I do. So if it can go through that kind of basic thing first, that gives its raw thing.
And that's why I really like taking it back to the fundamentals. I took piano lessons using the Alfred course system. And,
Yeah.
When you think back to those 1756 with Mozart or something like that, where they just had the one instrument to play with, that idea itself is quite romantic, I think, and you're kind of doing that with your guitar. I do praise you for that, because I'm about 170 episodes in plus for Kiwi Radio, and I've not yet found another person quite as versatile in sort of like a Spanishy acoustic sound and guitar. It's exciting for me. I still call you the Sting of New Zealand. And I know one other guitar virtuoso called Luke Hurley, but he's folk, you see, so that's a different breed. But you're quite a rare gem, which is why I like to follow your music. So we're doing 3 songs tonight. Sound good with you if we tell a few stories behind them?
Yep.
Okay, I've got them lined up here. Maybe introduce the first one and take it away with storytelling here at Kiwi Radio.
Okay, so I think the first one's going to be Silent Chaos. And really, I just came down into our breakfast area one morning, and I had this arpeggio that I was learning, and it's a very, very, you have to stretch your hands across 4 frets. It's the hardest song that I play by a mile, but it's a beautiful arpeggio, and arpeggio is just like playing one note at a time, not playing all the strings at once, just one note at a time, and melodically going through that. And that started the song off, and I just needed something to have some words to, and I just said, well, I'm staring at my cereal bowl and I'm looking at the TV. There's chaos on the TV. We're still watching the wars, every day. Now there's 2 of them. And then I looked out at the back, and just at our backyard, which was just nice and peaceful, and the birds are flying, and you look at the 2 worlds, and they're just like, inside, you're not saying anything, but there's a silent chaos there. So that's basically what silent chaos is. It's, we're still stuck in these war things in the morning, but everyone has to look out, and the birds still at the backyard, and you got your breakfast there. Some people don't get a breakfast overseas, so and it's just getting worse. But failing that, that was the actual message that I wanted to present, and that kind of feeling, the beauty of the arpeggio that starts off the song. And then when I started making the song, I came to a place where I watched a movie years ago when I was a very young kid, and it was a black and white Italian movie with a guy driving his lady around the Alps. I forget the movie, but in the middle of the song, you've got this very Spanish type of lick or hook, and it was always something that I've heard many times before, and I just wanted to put that into it. And so that's what I did. And I played it last night to a group of people, and I to make the song really hit hard, the chords suit the same song as In the Year 2525. So I sang that in the middle of it. Because it was only by myself, I can't do the leads, and I can do the arpeggios, but not the lead breaks that you'll hear in the song. And that's the silent chaos that we live in. Now there's all this really, and I don't know if In the Year 2525. it's about going for 1,000 years from now. What will we be doing? Well, I think it's going to be less than 100 years. The way things are going now. So so that's the story behind it. I really wanted to have that arpeggio in the song, and I wanted to have this lick that has kind of followed me around in my life, and it just came back when I played the song, and I thought, oh, yes, I'll put that in. It's probably why it's a bit tedious in the middle, but that's it.
Thank you for that story, and I'm keen to hear it and check out the arpeggio.
Yeah.
This is Paraeana, which is Te Reo for Brian. Brian is a very gifted acoustic musician, a guitarist, virtuoso. Go check him out, Paraeana. Kiwiradio, that is the beautiful sounds of Paraeana, all self-produced, isn't it, mate?
Yes, it is.
Nice.
Yes.
Can you tell me like the tools of the trade, like your favorite microphone, favorite guitar? Because there are other people out there that sort of doing music as well, and it's kind of nice to have a geeky segment.
Yep. I've I've got my mics in my other studio, but I use a Superlux thin pencil mic for the guitar, and I also use it for vocals as well. Just put a pop um, whatever over the top of it if I want. Sometimes I'll use a SM57 for vocals, and I've also got a Sennheiser mic as well, just dynamic. So most of the time, though, I like to use a condensed dense mic because you can get so much more. How could you say? Just acoustic harmonics. You'll get harmonics from a guitar open. If I had the choice of playing live, I would much prefer to play a nylon string guitar in front of a mic than have it a pickup inside, because you won't get the thuds so much. You'll get a really good, I think, a better sound. What else?
I really regret. I found a beautiful nylon guitar made in Japan, out of all places, and I found it at a thrift store for, I want to say, under $100, and then I loved the sound, but then I had this weird sort of internal battle with myself saying, oh, but I have to replace nylon strings more, and nylon strings are hard to come by, and or something like that. I was just and then I really regret letting that guitar go. It's like the mistress that got away, because you get attached to guitars sometimes, and I don't know why. I think I needed the funds at the time, and I let it go. But I always think about that nylon acoustic guitar, and I've never forgotten it, because it is a different sound to other strings, isn't it? I don't know. It's a little bit more warm, don't you think?
It's warm, thick. It's it may not resonate. Like for instance, I did a gig a week ago at the folk club, and I wanted to. It was the first time that I went back to using a steel string acoustic guitar. I used to always play electric and steel string, never played the nylon for years. And then ever since I did my first song in nylon, I just kept on going with it. And the reason is because the neck thickness is at least 3 or 5 mil wider at the end than a standard steel or electric guitar. And I'm so used to now having that width of string or width of neck that I'd even get one built to just to get the space, because my fingers are like stubs, being an ex-carpenter, and and so going back to a steel acoustic the other week was really a good experience. But I find that I can get different tones of strumming in the length. If it was just playing with another instrument only, you can do lots of things with those songs. Playing the chords that I play, because some of them aren't really chords. Some of them are just 2 notes, which is a chord, but they're really spread apart. They're not normal chords, especially that particular stuff.
I believe.
Yeah.
Musical term.
Yeah.
Instead
You
of
use a lot of open strings, and you don't strum. You don't strum the whole thing.
Bass players use a lot of couplets, don't they? In music theory, I just thought about that, and sometimes that's all you need is the 2 notes. I liken it to, again, taking it back to old school, medieval days, where you just maybe had 2 singers on stage. Sometimes 2 voices are all you need, really. So sorry, it's a bit of a segue, but I like. And anyways, there's no rules to music writing and things like that, but what I do recommend for anyone writing a song is, if you're going to do that, like, strip it back and then have a heavy chorus. Contrast is the best thing in music, so maybe have some basic stripped back couplets in the verses and then kick it all in.
Yeah, and that's what I find when playing live. I have to change the song quite a bit so that there is contrast. For instance, like you don't get the keyboards. I mean, I played the keyboards on that, and
Right.
it's sort of, that carries behind the scenes, which makes it even more things. So, but when you play it live, it's very stripped back, and you have to change it a little. And the steel guitar could be that change, but it's very
Right.
hard to play. The chords. So
When
I'm looking for a steel guitar, just a steel string acoustic guitar.
Tell you
I
what,
mean,
if you've
and
got a spare nylon, we'll do a trade. I've got like 6 or 7
yeah,
steel guitars, and again, I missed that
yeah.
nylon. It's like the mistress that got away.
I keep
And
going to music. That the whole excuse of going to music shops is to go and find one that you love. You got to love it, and
yeah,
it could be anywhere between 100 and
yes,
5 or 6 grand. Because I'll play the 6 grand one, and and then I'll go and play the 300 or 400 one in the same room just to see
yeah,
what the difference is. I'll even record them if I'm really serious,
yeah.
and then but yeah.
I know in
So
I know in Germany you can walk in and there's places where they have synth museums. Like you basically bring a laptop and there's all these vintage synthesizers. You can rent the place, and because Germans, they love these synthesizers, yeah. But I'm
yeah,
just wondering if someone could please open a guitar one in New Zealand where you could just a playground for adults. You bring your own
yeah,
laptop and yeah. I wish
yeah,
actually I
yeah.
wish
That's true.
music stores would allow you that. Like you can buy the guitar or you can rent this little room here, and per hour. Yeah, because I
Well,
think
Australia and America have those rooms. You
what's
can
that?
go into those rooms. I went to Australia and for the last 3 years, and you go into in some of the stores in Brisbane
Yeah.
and in Melbourne too. They have a separate room where you take the guitar in or guitars that you want in, and you can do what you want, and then apart from break them.
Including record?
Well, if you had a device and like let's say you had a Q into a Zoom queuing
Right, like a handheld
into.
one or something. Yeah, and snuck that in.
Yeah, that's perfect. That'll be,
Yeah,
and you
I'm
go home
surprised.
and yeah, that'll
Well,
be that'll be perfect. And in fact,
actually,
the good thing about it, you could do kind of like a little short. I haven't done that yet, but it's given me an idea.
yeah, well, we have to be resourceful as musicians. What do you call it with those
Yeah,
people where they go out into the forest and they pick natural like veggies and stuff? There's a
foraging,
foraging, yeah.
forager.
We're a musical forager where we go into guitar stores, bring our Zoom recorders, and because I
Yeah,
joke in a way, but I've spoken to you before where you've done that with like reverbs in caves, right? So I
yeah,
joke,
true.
but in
Yeah,
a way you've done it already. So you would be the kind of guy that does the experimentation. It's fun to experiment with music
yeah.
too, right?
I,
Um,
I actually would like to do that. That's a good idea. Hmm.
why
Go with
guitar? Why out of all instruments? What has kept the longevity and interest with you in guitars? Like, why the guitar?
I think it's just a natural. Um, I don't. A piano is easy and like a piano is good to learn because it's kind of like ABC. They're all in a row. Everything's kind of in a row,
Yep.
or in line. A B C D. D kind of more. And I don't know. I don't know what it is about the guitar that I've kept it in there, and I I just don't know. I just love the sound. I've always loved the sound of Spanish guys playing them.
Yeah.
They'll do their run, or they'll do,
One of my
bit more than the chinka chinka.
one of my favorite memories was going to Barcelona in Spain, and I was with a bunch of Aussies and Kiwis, and they showed us this area where they do like the dances and the Spanish guitars, flamingos, and it was just they weren't amped. Like it would the venue itself was the resonating chamber, and
Yeah,
it was so lovely. I think that's what AI can't replace is those feelings where
no,
you're in a room with a bunch of other humans and you're sharing some sort of experience. Music can literally pull together a bunch of strangers with different languages and by the end of the night, they're all singing and laughing, having a good time. I think that's what you can't replace, regardless.
Yeah.
And music started out that way, didn't it? It started off organic in venues, and then recorded music came about later, So I feel like we almost need to circle back to those basics where we go to live shows, we go to local shows. What's that?
Yeah, we might be forced to
Yeah.
to go back to that. People, and I think people just want to perhaps go to a live show. Like there's a difference between sitting in your own house and getting soaked in music, but then you're at a live venue and you're getting this. It's a different type of soaking in the music because it's in front of you.
Yeah,
warts
for sure.
and all.
Warts and all, love it. Well, the next song we'll take it away. Now it's even in your name you use te reo, which is Paraeana, which is, from what I remember, Brian in te reo, right? Your second song
correct.
also uses te reo, which is te rewa. For any of our
The
overseas...
rewa.
Is it? The rewa.
Uh,
The rewa. For any
rewa.
overseas listeners, do you want to explain what that means and then also the story behind it?
Well, rewa, I looked at the meaning of it. Did mean kind of it. There's several meanings for rewa, but it's meaning big. So what happened was there's a wreck that's first of all, I wanted to do a folk song, just tell a story of the history of New Zealand. And of course, being a fishing charter skipper, I have always been to this wreck, which is 25 miles north of Auckland, just off Martins Bay. And this wreck is a beautiful wreck to go to. We've always used it ever since I've been a boy to park behind it, stay at night, swim around, snorkel around. It's a fantastic wreck to go to. And it's this time it's spent all its time rusting away since the 1930s. So I decided to go up there and spend 4 days and write about the rewa. And I was going to call it the rewa. But after being there for 4 days alone, just right next to it, by myself, no one came in the 4 days. I was just parked, anchored, and working on a folk song for this thing. And then I really discovered that actually this ship is so awesome that I need to go and focus on its history and the history behind the rewa. So it was New Zealand's largest 4-master tall ship we ever had in New Zealand. But it only served in New Zealand for 2 years. For the rest of its 28-something years, it was called the LSA Lee, and it used to travel from Newcastle in Australia, because in those days, in the 1800s, 1900s, Newcastle was the biggest port in the world, Australia, and it had all, because it was just connecting everything. And anyway, it used to travel from there to Mexico all the time, and down the Mexico coast, and then it came to New Zealand in 1918, just after the war, in the 1920s, and it would deliver wool and coal back up to England, which is a long way for a sailing boat. And I decided to give it this shot of calling it the LSA. Well, its previous name before the rewa was LSA Lee, and so I said, I'll write about the LSA Lee and about its history, and you'll see where it was kind of built. It was built in Whitehaven. To launch it, it took over a week for them to launch it because it was so big that they didn't realise it would need 4 or 5 tugs to pull it out into the water because it was that big, and mainly because it was deep. And of course, when the chap who owned the island called Moturekareka, that's where the wreck is, when he put it on there, I think the same thing happened. They didn't realise it was so big that on the night that they had it ready, because it was going to be like a stand-up ship so that people could go out and whatever, be like a casino or something like that. And this was in the 1930s. It fell off the reef because it was so big they couldn't control the size of it. You know, wind changed, whatever. It was just overnight. It fell off the reef, and because it fell off on the side, they could never pull it back straight up. They didn't have the possibly the money. They probably would have the manpower or whatever, but they didn't have the money to do that. So it stayed there derelict on its side since till now. And so instead of speaking about that kind of calamity, I didn't want to do that. I want to go into the history of it. And the history of it, is kind of like it used to have a family on board. And at one stage, I had to leave a son behind. He was a young boy for, I think, a year in another
Is
in
it
another
Alien?
country.
No. Alien, Hannah.
Yeah.
Baby Alice Lee. Well, there you go. Baby Alice Lee.
Yeah, and then they had a U-boat during the war, World War One. I didn't even realise there was U-boats then, but they were boarded by a U-boat, and it was a French frigate that came in, actually saved them by firing over the top of the boat, and then every one of the U-boat dived back into it, and they escaped. So they were saved by that, and that was at the end, near the ending of the war in World War One. Then it came down to New Zealand for that, which I haven't really gone into any kind of history in New Zealand, because I kind of like, often folk songs might go round and round and round and round, and then they'll have a chorus, which I've got this chorus, and the chorus is quite a common chorus for shanties, and so I thought, I'll try and make this like a shanty type folk song, but telling the story of the LSA Lee. And I put the rewa there because most people will only recognise the LSA Lee as the rewa, or some people will, because that's what it was always called. And so I decided, yes, I wanted to do that history of it.
It's cool that you had a personal connection with the site too, having spent 4 days on your own, essentially. And I'm just looking at pictures of it now. It's quite a romantic spot, isn't it? Especially, I can just imagine you writing a song, kind of looking at this shipwreck that's in Motiri Karika in Kawu Island.
No, Motu Reka Reka.
Motu Reka Reka.
Motu Reka Reka, yeah, just the way it is. And there's, you can go to YouTube, you'll see I've got really good shots of it.
You do?
And
okay. On your YouTube site, Paraeana, right?
Yeah, just the Paraeana YouTube at Paraeana, YouTube at Paraeana, and they've got the good some good shots of it in the drone. I actually wrote at that time. Cool. I actually wrote 2 or 3 songs at the time, cool. and a couple of songs will come out as well from that time. But it was just a perfect day. 4 days. I didn't have anyone. The only one that came was some rich guy in a helicopter each morning going from Hikauau to work or whatever.
Hey, there's quite a few views here. Like, you've hit 1,000+ on each little historic video. I think more people really need to kind of educate Kiwis on maritime history, and music's a great way of doing that, kind of, and reigniting kind of like the dynamic history behind maritime past, because we are the city of sails, and these were floating palaces, and the fact that got attacked by a U-boat and everything like that, and did this and that, it's like the New Zealand's version of castles, right? These big boats. And I love the history behind it, so it's cool that you've kind of raised awareness of the history through this song.
Yeah.
And
I was just it was. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed the time.
Well, let's listen to it. Paraeana is our guest for tonight, You're listening to Kiwi Radio, simulcast.nfm.co.nz. Here every Tuesday night, 7 to 8 p.m. New Zealand time. Radio here with Paraeana. There is a music video there. Speaking of, we were talking about AI and the role in music. It looks like you've used some sort of AI graphics in the video. Is that right?
In the video, yeah. And that the violinist is Helen, plays at
Right.
Bluegrass in Auckland, and she was very helpful and just setting that scene of having the violin in there. Yeah, of course, because I had all the. You can go to a prompt and you put in your video and then they'll mix it in. And that's what happened with that. I had a captain's hat and everything, and I grew a beard just for that.
It's fun. And it got you to the finish line, so that's all that matters. And got some sort of thing out. And the music itself is very organic. And shout out to Helen Adams as well. Next song is the third and final. Lead the Way.
All right. Well, Angel Song. So I decided, I'll try and do a blues song, and it really didn't work out that much of a blues, a standard blues set, because I started it and I just didn't like where it was going, and then a few things happened to us, and even across the general public, people lost a lot of their jobs. And for whatever reason. And then then a lot of things. It just seemed like a lot of greedy people wanted to make more money out of it, And so I thought, well, blues is really a song that you really almost curse the other people or whatever for doing such a thing, but you're getting the release out of it. And so I thought, yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll just do that. And I got a lot of release just out by writing it and singing it. And I even said to somebody else, I probably shouldn't even release this, because it's not, in some ways, it's not meant to be a nice song, but it's meant to be a release song that, buggy you. The rich just stay richer and the poor get poorer, What else is a poor man to do apart from sing his screeches out or vent his attitude to it? So that's basically what it was, and what really inspired me about it. You remember the Bob Dylan movie that came out earlier this year, and the song that was on there, and he had the organ that came in, and I thought, yes, I'd love to have that organ sound come into my song, and so it was a bit of inspiration from that movie, from things that happened, and I didn't know what to call it. I was going to call it Hard-Working Soul, because that's what it was about, that
right.
The rich just keep putting down hard-working soul. But I thought it's the angel's song because he calls on 7 angels to come and rescue him from these guys, because that's all he's got. He can't do anything else. He's just got to kind of call out to the spiritual realm to try and help make things even or whatever. So, yeah, that's what that's about. And I used AI in the video of that for sure. Just
again, it's just being resourceful. Being resourceful, and but yeah, I really like the stories behind your music there, Paraeana, because it reminds me of studying like World War II, for example. And no, it was World War One, I believe. It was the Gallipoli's landing or something. We were watching a dramatized version of that, and towards the end, where the lead actor gets shot, and that it kind of does a freeze frame, and it fades out. Were the darkest times, and all they had was their internal thoughts, their music at times, to guide them through hell, essentially. And I can really relate to this, where you hit rock bottom and you're almost just reaching out to something that's just not even from this world anymore, because you've detached yourself so much from your own reality that you're calling from past ancestors, whatever you want to call it, and there's some romanticism behind that, is what I want to say. Some deep feelings. And music is the industry of feelings, so I'm keen to hear this one. Angel's Song, Paraeana. Now, I have reached out to you, and at some point have expressed that would love to have you in person in the studio. It's been a long time coming, but I do believe we've set a date for that now, right? Correct me if we have. And
I'll put it in there.
Sweet. And speaking of that, we do have some amazing musicians coming to visit us in studio. Next up, we're actually going to have Vanessa Toddle, and it's going to be a two guests in one. On 20th of August, we've got the lovely Vanessa Toddle, who's a trip-hop producer, makes her own instrumentals, sings as well. She's the trip-hop queen of New Zealand. And also, we've got this wonderful man called Tiger, who's joined us in Get Featured, and he reminds me of the Temper Trap, which is I really like his voice. When he talks, you don't expect that he sings that way. You know what I mean? It's quite operatic in a way. So they're going to be joining us on the 20th of August 2025. Love to see everyone there in the live stream and the YouTube. And we do have more guests coming in person, and also every Tuesday night via phone. We've had Paraeana join us tonight. And Paraeana, you're always a friend of the podcast, so always keen to, see emails coming from you and what you're up to in terms of music. It's always fun to reconnect every now and then. So and tonight's been one of those nights as well where I've had a lot of fun. And please check out his music. You can find it on Bandcamp, Paraeana.bandcamp.com, or at Paraeana on YouTube, and check out all those lovely music videos. He's about to hit 1,000 YouTube likes, and I see a few people on our YouTube chat now. So please open another window and give that channel a like. Get it to 1,000. That's spelt Paraeana, Paraeana. Paraeana, thank you for being on the show. Is there anything else?
Thank you, Will. Oh, no, I think we've covered on those 3 songs. Just wish you well. Have a great day. Have a great week.
You too. And you're the man on that guitar, and you also have a beautiful voice. He's the Sting of New Zealand, the one and only Brian. Paraeana is Te Reo in Maori. He produces all his tracks, and you got to definitely check that all out. Paraeana, it's been a pleasure. You have a great night.
You too. Thank you, Ralph. All the best.
See you later. See you soon. And that is the end of tonight's show. Thank you for everyone joining us on the live stream. We are back every Tuesday night, 7 to 8 p.m. New Zealand time. Let's see, we've got a few people coming up. Jack Moser is going to be joining us on the show. Who else? We've also got Elisa Calendar joining us on the show. More to come. Captain Blisterman, I think, is going to be joining us. And of course, Vanessa Toddle and Tiger in person, in the flesh. If you want to send your music through to the radio station, the best way to do it is email an MP3 file to kiwiradio@proton.me. That's kiwiradio@proton.me. Be sure to attach an MP3. Stay cool, stay creative. Get to the post line, to the goalpost, however way you can. And stay creative, my friends. Have fun.